I would definitely say keep a change of shoes. If you're going to wear a certain look or you have a certain look you're going for, always have two shoes because my first shoot with you, my shoe broke. My shoe broke on the way to the shoot. My shoe broke. So I was glad that I had extra
Lens,
shoes.
focus in, we don't miss, we frame the win. It's Herm on the snap, turn moments to gold. Freeze that vibe, let the real story be told. Click, that's a shot, welcome and let's roll.
Okay. And you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everybody. I'm Ferina Hernandez.
Alrighty. So, can you tell me what type of model are you?
I would call myself a freelance model.
Okay.
Because I don't want to sign to anybody, and I'm not signed to anybody. So I'm just kind of just freelance, free.
Is there any type of modeling you lean more towards? More towards runway, more towards print?
A little bit of both. I like print more because it gives me creativity. I don't mind fashion shows, but I'm very picky with my fashion shows.
That makes sense. So, can you tell me how you got started modeling?
I got started modeling about maybe 10 or 11 years ago. I did it for more so to help someone out, but then it turned into me building my self-confidence because I grew up always the oddball. I was tall and skinny, so it gave me self-confidence modeling. I could show off a different side of myself.
Ooh, that is a really good point you make. And I think I have that somewhere a little further down. I said I was going to move these questions just a little bit. So can you just talk a little bit more about like how modeling has impacted your sense of confidence or self-image? So just to clarify also, so I talk to a lot of models and models are some of the most critical people of themselves. But ironically, the process of modeling helps them improve that self-image at the same time.
Yes.
So can you just talk about like your experiences with confidence and self-image and modeling?
From my experience so far, or thus far, it's helped my image because at first I wasn't comfortable wearing certain clothes. I did not want to wear things that was revealing because I knew I did not have chest, I didn't have a shape, I didn't have what the typical models have. And then watching America's Next Top Model growing up, it kind of busted your bubble a little bit and you knew that you had to look a certain way. So I knew I stood out to everybody and I didn't want to. But as I got to modeling, I knew I could be creative, just doing different little things, even if it was simple as wearing a shirt that someone else can't pull off. Bathing suits, I didn't wear bathing suits, and then I just pushed myself. Okay, well, let me get this bathing suit and let me try to look sexy in front of a pool, or let me just look sexy laying across a chair. And it helped my confidence a lot because I was my own critic. I would tell myself I didn't look good in stuff that people say I look good in, and I didn't believe them because it's me looking at myself, looking at my flaws. I was able to put my flaws out there just modeling.
Gotcha. And so for these next questions, I feel like what you just started on kind of goes into it. I want to talk about your personal insights. And so what you were just saying, it kind of goes into this question I have. So it's like, what are some of the pressures models face that aren't talked about? And I feel like you touched on it a good bit in your previous response. But are there any other pressures models might face that most people won't know about?
It's a lot, but I would definitely say just being your own critic. You have to have that confidence. So if you don't have that confidence, you will downplay yourself in a lot of shoots, a lot of runways. You will not be confident in what you're wearing because you're your own critic.
Yeah, I get that. So I want to backpedal a little bit, just in personal insights. So one of the things I really try to like get at or put an emphasis on is just safety in general. I feel like modeling can be a very you're put in environments where you need to have a good sense of situational awareness, environmental awareness, and things of that nature. So for you, what's your vetting process when it comes to collaborating with a new photographer, stylist, or creative team?
I try to scout them out a little bit first. Not more be a creep about it, but see who they work with. See if they've had people that I know or have work with first. Kind of make conversation with them in a sense to kind of fill them out, and then I always let someone know. I never do photo shoots or any fashion shows, and I'm just kind of strictly the only person there. I try to have someone in my bubble or my background that just knows where I'm going. I always come prepared. I try to scope out my scenery first before I go there. So if I get told, like, we're going to shoot at a park, I go to that park days before and kind of scope it out, try to see what my exit points are, just safety overall as a woman.
That makes a lot of sense. And so, okay, I know I said I wasn't going to ask questions that weren't on this list, just a little branching question. So just with that, in terms of communicating with photographers, designers, creative teams, things of that nature, are there certain red flags and green flags for you? I know you just talked about getting a sense of who they are via communication, but are there certain things that in that process of communicating with somebody you've never talked to, well, you never met before, is there like a certain thing that's just a definitive red flag for you, and some things that are definitive green flags, if there is such a thing?
I would say the red flags that usually stand out to me if I'm like getting ready to work with somebody, if they have too many questions for me that are not pertaining to my growth as a model or my growth at that point, or if they have more questions that's not pertaining to the photo shoot at hand or the fashion or the clothes that I may be wearing or whatever our agreed upon situation is. The green flags would be if they kind of tell you everything in a nutshell without them having to repeat themselves. They're not coming off kind of crazy. They're very mannerable. They're respectful, just stuff like that. Or even taking the sense of saying, hey, you can bring someone with you.
Yeah.
That gives me a sign of hope because some people don't, especially male photographers, they kind of don't want other people there. I've not had that experience yet, but I think that kind of makes me feel comfortable working with people.
That makes sense. So, for the overall photo shoot itself, what do you consider the most important thing in a photo shoot to make it successful?
Your confidence, your vibe, your personality, definitely your confidence. Because if you're not confident in that photo shoot, it's gonna show. It's gonna show 100% in that photo shoot. Whether it's your posture, your face expression, it can even just simply be your movement. Definitely the vibe because a photographer, or not even just a photographer, anybody can pick up on it. That if you come in a room and you're kind of like mugging, even if that's your natural face, if you're mugging, they're gonna like pick up on it like, oh, okay, well, maybe this is not the time or this is not a good shoot. So that's a lot of it. Definitely vibe and your confidence.
Gotcha. And so earlier you were talking about, modeling also allowed you to express your creativity. So what inspires you creatively?
A little bit of everything. Being that I'm tall, I know I can do a lot of things that not most people can do,
Yeah.
or I can do something and I don't have to manipulate it. I could do something and make myself look even longer because I'm taller, or I can wear things that make me look longer. I can just be more flexible with things because the creativity behind it. You don't think of shooting in water and putting a bar stool in the water and using it as you're levitating. So those are like the creative points. Even down to just manipulating a fabric. It's just being creative.
I feel that. What do you think are the biggest misconceptions people have about modeling?
That you're just standing in front of a camera posing, that you're being sexy, that you just have to dress up and be sexy. Like, it's not that simple because you can be sexy all day long, but you can't sell a bathing suit. You can't sell lingerie. You can't sell this dress. You may be trying to be a brand for someone. And if they say, hey, I wear this sweatshirt and the sweatshirt has their name on it, if you can't wear that sweatshirt and produce the image that they need, you can't do it, and everybody can't model. Everybody can't walk on the runway. It's not simply like just walking, left, right, left, right. It's not military style walking. You have to have a certain look, and if you aren't disciplined enough, you're not going to be able to achieve it.
You bring up a really good point. So one of my pet peeves as a photographer is people who they model Instagram modeling. And it's like there's only like 3 faces people really make on Instagram, and all of them are like selfies for the most part. Maybe 2 or 3, like somebody's taking a picture of them. But like people get so accustomed to this taking those pictures, but when it comes to actually letting somebody else hold the camera, they just shut down. And it's just like people have become so good at Instagram modeling that in the process of becoming a multifaceted model, I would say, it suffers on the other end. And like I'll meet people for the first time and then like they might have a really good like social media portfolio of pictures, but like when you get on location or in the studio, it's not that. And it's like they just get like super stiff or like they have one face.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, with modeling, you need to, I don't think people work on their facial expressions as much as maybe their physical mannerisms. And it's just like, we need a little more. Cause then it kind of, at that point, like the shoot might go left and then like that person might be feeling like some type of way. And then it shows in the picture and they tend to tense up a little bit. So it's just like, oh my gosh.
I've had that. I've done that before. Like a lot of times my face kind of just is subtle.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't smile. I'm a very bubbly person. I love smiling. I will smile. I love laughing. But I feel like some of the work that I've done at least don't require smiling. And it's based on your photo and what you're going for. But the smiling does help because if you have this kind of resting bitch face, you won't sell what you're doing and it shows. So I think that's that. And if you don't know how to pose, you're that person too. But I'm at least very confident enough that where I can pose myself, but I will tell a photographer or someone I'm working with to pose me because I don't know what they see.
Yeah.
So I'll say, hey, I have a few ideas of my own, but what do you have? Like, this is kind of my go-to, but what do you prefer? Like, what can you see? Because I can't see myself. I can look in the mirror all day, but I don't know the image that you're seeing me as. So.
That makes sense. Also, so one of the questions I just really love asking people, and I think you really inspired this question for me. So the first time we did a shoot together, you had this giant bag. And you're like, hey, don't worry about it. I got an extra pair of clothes, shoes, everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I feel like you were going out of town or something. And then I might be exact. No, that bag was pretty huge.
It was huge. It was definitely huge. I remember.
And then ever since then, I love asking models like, hey, what are 5 things you make sure that's in your model bag because of that? And that was just a learning experience for me because like, I think you were one of the first people I'd worked with from a model perspective that like had actually modeled before. Opposed to that, it was just like, I'm just doing shoots for people like birthdays or like holiday shoots. So it was just like to see you come so prepared. I'm like, oh my gosh. So with that, what are 5 things you keep in your modeling bag?
My number one thing in my modeling bag is wipes because I sweat. I don't know about anybody else. I sweat and I want to be able to just touch and go. I would definitely say keep a change of shoes. If you're going to wear a certain look or you have a certain look you're going for, always have 2 shoes because my first shoot with you, my shoe broke. My shoe broke on the way to the shoot. My shoe broke. So I was glad that I had extra shoes because my shoe broke. So I try to find outfits that I can wear multiple pair of shoes with. Definitely a changed pair of shoes. Some flats if you can, because you don't know where you gotta walk. I would say your little 1-2 makeup kit, even if it's just pressed powder and your lipstick and your lip liner and a compact mirror for sure, because you always gotta check for your hair, your face, something may be on you. But those would be my main things that I keep in my model bag because it helps me. I know if I forget something, they're there. And that's the first thing I put in when I come to a shoot, unless I just know I don't need anything.
Gotcha. So for these next, your shoe did break. And then like, I didn't know if you wanted that brought up. So I'm like, I'm not going to bring it up. But then you brought it up. And it wasn't funny anymore. I was worried about your safety.
It was a funny moment because I was hopping around with one shoe. And I was like, I know it was going to break, but I just didn't think it was going to break that day.
Yeah.
And it broke at the most random time in front of a bunch of people. And I had to like improvise and everybody's just looking at me, looking at my shoe. And I'm like, where am I going to throw it away? And like, oh, there's a trash can.
Oh gosh, that was funny. Okay, so I want to transition from your personal insights to more so your insight on like the modeling industry. Like, modeling, photography industry as a whole, right? So, what's one of the things you find most challenging about the modeling industry?
I would say being accepted and not accepted like as a individual to a group of people, but just overall in the model industry because everybody has this popularity kind of thing. Everybody has experience, and people will pick well-known people or experienced people based off of who knows who, and it's definitely just the popularity and being accepted because me being tall, people overlook me. They don't want someone tall because they're afraid of showing their creative side. You're not accepted because maybe you're too thin or you're too light skinned or you don't have this or you don't have that. I've been overlooked a lot of times and I have not been accepted, but then I'll find someone that looks similar or have similar features as me and they're right there, but it's because they're shorter. So being a model, it's hard to get accepted or acquaintance with your surroundings of models because everybody is not, they're not open and they're not a family in modeling. Modeling is kind of like a cutthroat business and it can become a cutthroat business. Even down to with photographers. Photographers will they'll use you if they have no other option. But if they have a go-to person, they will go to their go-to person.
You know what's crazy about the concept of a go to person, also? Like, I get it because there's a certain comfort with like your go to person. But like at the point in which I see you take, or I see you do 6 photo shoots back to back to back, even if it's super dope concepts, amazing concepts, different types of environments and places, like, but you shouldn't be the same person. And then like me as a photographer, I question your ability to photograph different physiques, different skin tones, things of that nature. And like one of the things I noticed here in Jacksonville, there's several different photography Facebook groups. And I noticed there's certain photographers, they go for the same look over and over and over. And so, no shade to anybody, but like, just to give an example, it's like, it's petite white women bathing suits either at the beach or in front of a car.
Yeah.
And it's like, can you shoot somebody who's Asian? Can you shoot a black woman? Can you shoot a plus size model? Things of that nature. So like I get like the comfort in the go-to person, but at the same time, I feel like you gotta expand. And I know with me personally, like I have certain people I'm like, if I really want to do an idea, I can hit that person up. But at the same time, like I'll at least try to put like 3-4 months between shoots just so I don't get complacent. So that notion of like having that go-to person, like, and even from a model perspective too, right? I feel like sometimes some models get so comfortable with just one photographer. They know that photographer, they don't know photography. And it could be a situation in which like that photographer does a bunch of things that they don't tell the model. So then the model's growth is stunted. So it's like you gotta grow, gotta expand. But at the same time, also in this industry, it says very cutthroat. I've also had those. I got Instagram messages like, "Don't work with my model no more," and stuff. And I'm just like,
It happens. It happens. I mean, when I first started modeling, the photographers that I was working with, we were a couple. So it was I was so used to him shooting me that when people asked me to expand my creativity, if it wasn't PG-13, I wasn't willing to because I wasn't comfortable
yeah,
working with someone in that aspect. But then I had to realize they're not going to always be around to do something. Then when I did branch out, I did, me personally, I performed as a model better. My creativity was way more because I was so used to them just saying pose, pose, pose.
yeah,
Versus I have someone putting me with someone else to do a whole nother shoot in a whole nother setting where I probably would have never done it with them. And when I started stepping out, I got more comfortable because now I know I'm not just trying to look sexy for this person because they're my couple. Like we're a couple, they're my person, but after a while working with other people, I didn't want to work with them anymore. And it wasn't nothing personal. It wasn't nothing to our relationship. It was more of I was able to expand my creativity. They
yeah,
didn't challenge me anymore because now they know that I can be used as a prop when they want to test out a camera or they want to use a new scenery. They want to use a new setting. Hey, go put on some clothes. We're going to go shoot here. So it was that, but you have to not be a go-to person because you'll just single yourself in a space where you don't grow. You won't know what's outside of Jacksonville or what's outside of just your area because you're focused on a particular look, a particular photographer, and just your certain image.
yeah. So, how do you handle slow periods? So, let's say you haven't done a shoot in a while, or more so, just most models and photographers have full time jobs that come first, opposed to their modeling and photography. So, how do you handle slow periods when you just might not have enough free time to do a shoot?
I personally take that time to find photo shoots that I could recreate
Yeah.
or just become creative. Buy outfits that I could use to mimic a certain look. I use a lot of my free time. That's just my slow period of just creating things, even if it's not for myself, it's for somebody else, giving ideas to someone else. I actually love my slow period. I don't personally like being book. I actually decline a lot of them because I have a full time job. And then it gives me time to like lose myself, but then be like, yeah, I'm that girl. Like I can do it because if I'm constantly throwing out photo shoots, nobody's gonna be amused anymore. No one's gonna be expecting something different because they know I'm just here shooting full time, doing shoots back to back. You got to give somebody something to like. Oh well, I haven't seen Ferina's face in a minute. You know what she, I wonder what she's got going on. I wonder if she changed or if I come out, someone's not gonna see me as this skinny little girl anymore. I remember I went through a period, I want to say almost 2 years, where I said I quit modeling. I don't want to model anymore. Don't talk to me about it. Stop talking to me. I don't have any ideas. And when I came back, I went from being like 120 pounds to like 150 or a little bit more. And I got more love because the growth period from when I first started, you could see the change in my just my work. You could see the change in my face expressions and my upkeep in myself because I went from doing my own makeup to letting people do my makeup to doing my own hair to letting people do my own hair. Not saying that it was a bad thing, but you could tell I took my creativity a little bit better. And people were more stunned because they were like, well, I thought you weren't doing model anymore. We hadn't seen any new photos. No, I just was in my bag and I was being creative. And when I came back, I wanted to make sure I came back and left a print somewhere. So I
Gotcha.
love my slow moments. I don't know about anybody else. I
Yeah,
do.
I get that. So, I want to transition a little more into your specific experiences. So, you recently walked in Jack's Fashion Week. Can you tell me a little bit more about the highlights for you from that week?
It was a success for me. Um, just seeing the other models, like overall, not even looking at myself as a model, a lot of the highlights were just wonderful. I remember there was a young lady, she was about 17. I'm not sure of her name, but she was a young girl. And it was her, like her first fashion show. And she was just so nervous. And I was speaking life into her, like, you got it. It doesn't matter who's on the floor. Just walk. Walk like you're walking, downtown and you're walking and you're that girl. And just to see her go from like I'm scared, I'm nervous to this is my floor, I'm gonna burn a hole in the floor. It was just, it stood out to me. I think the whole fashion show, that was one of the highlights for me. Another highlight is just seeing how people just ooh and ah over different models that wear things, and sometimes you don't even realize that those oohs and ahs get you going. And I think that stood out too, because like for me, I like quiet when I walk, because if people are yelling and hyping me up, it kind of makes me focus on them versus on my walk. So just to hear and to do something different and watch other people like go, it was an experience.
Gotcha. And so, another question that wasn't on my list, but you brought it up. So, do you ever are you ever surprised that you're a model? Like, do you ever forget that? So, let me preface. So, like, sometimes I forget I'm a photographer. So, like, for me, photography is something that, like it was a like my business is called Herm Hobbying because it was just a hobby, and it's like I am somebody who enjoys the art of photography. And I'll never forget, I was at the Commer Museum. It was me and a good friend, and we're just taking pictures. And this lady's like, "Oh, y'all are photographers." I'm like, "Oh, I just got a camera. I like taking pictures." She's like, "No, you're a photographer." She's like, "No, you got to speak that thing into existence." And so it was so crazy because I used to be scared to say I'm a photographer because it's just like there's weight to it for me at least. So for you, are you ever surprised that you're a model, or do you ever forget that you're a model?
Yes, a lot of times because I work in a setting where I wear scrubs 99% of the time. So I have to remember like just my walking ethnic and just my etiquette in modeling. People come up to me and be like, "Oh, that's such and such." And I'm like, who? And then I forget because when modeling is on, but that button can get turned off like a light switch. And I forget. And at one point, I used to be scared to say I was a model because I remember at one point people were expecting me to be like that girl who just shows her butt, wears bikinis and lingerie. So I had to like show that that's not just what modeling is. And I didn't want to tell my family at first that I was modeling because I was afraid of the backlash. So I forgot that I was a model until I would get in front of a camera. I didn't I didn't like taking photos after a while because I did it so much. And I would forget, but then I had to realize, well, I am a model whether I want to believe it or not. It's there. I can't change it. I can stop being one, but I was one. It's on my resume. It's part of my portfolio.
Yeah, I get that. So, talking a little bit more about your experience, can you tell me about a photo shoot where everything went right?
I don't think I've had one.
Okay.
I don't personally think I've had one. It's always a hiccup somewhere, whether it's getting to the photo shoot or while at the photo shoot. And I kid you not, every photo shoot I've had, something dramatic always happens, whether it's me falling, like with our first shoot, my shoe broke. And that day I was rushing. I had just got into it with my spouse. And I think that was one of the reasons why my shoe broke, because I almost threw my shoe at him. And I think that was just God saying, you don't use this shoe as a weapon. I'm not giving you a weapon. But like, I've never really had a photo shoot where everything just went well. I've had photo shoots where it started raining in the middle of it. I've had photo shoots where I'm freezing cold. I've had photo shoots where models show up late. I've just never had a successful shoot. It's successful overall once you get through it, but it's never been like there's no hiccup in it. And I don't expect a perfect photo shoot. I don't expect a perfect fashion show, because what is it without those little small hiccups and inconveniences?
That's a really good point. So, on the flip side of that, can you tell me about a time, if any, where you wanted to walk away from a photo shoot, or you actually did walk away from a photo shoot, and how did you handle it professionally?
A time where I walked away from a photo shoot. This one guy, and I'm still to this day, he kind of pissed me off. He hit me up on Facebook. This is when I first got like a manager to kind of manage shoots for me. She had booked a gig and he hit me up and he was like, hey, I'm the photographer, let's shoot, let's meet here. And I was like, okay, well, that's cool. We could do like a downtown look about 5:30, 6 o'clock with the sun setting. He was in accords to it. I was in accords to it. But then like maybe a few hours before the shoot, he was like, hey, are you bringing someone? And me being young, I had to be like 19 or 20. I didn't catch it at that time. And I might have been a little bit older, but I didn't catch it at the time that it was a red flag. And then when we got there, he was like, oh, did anyone come with you? And I was like, no. And he was like, oh, okay, well, we can shoot here. And I was like, we're not going to shoot downtown. And he's like, we can get some shots in downtown, but there's this one area that I really, really want to shoot in. And so we started getting some of the photos in downtown, but then he was like pushy towards getting to this like area that looked like it was fenced in, but you had to go through a certain way to get there. And when we got there, he was like, oh, well, have you ever did artistic nude? And I was like, no. And he's like, have you ever did implied nude? And I was like, no. And he's like, do you want to do it today? And I was like, we didn't agree on that. And he's like, oh, okay, well, you just have to take your blouse off, take your jacket off. It won't be too much. It'll be like 6 or 7 shoots. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, I'm not comfortable. Thank you, for your time. I'm going to leave. And he kind of got pissed off. But I don't know what really happened, because at that moment I had my phone in my hand, and I used to be really bad with having my phone on me all the time during a shoot, to the point that I always had someone on the phone, whether the photographer knew it or not, if I wasn't with a person that I knew. And thank God that saved me, having someone on the phone, because they started talking and was like going off on him. So he didn't follow me, but you could tell his whole face went red, like everything changed. And then I want to say about 2 or 3 weeks later, he did reach out to me after blocking me on Instagram and then unblocking me. He reached out to me. He sent me like 6 photos, but they were all blurry. And then I never got the rest of my photos, and he disappeared. and that was it. And I feel like that was a save for me, but that was one of the shoots that I walked away, but I really looked forward to that shoot because of the creativity I put behind it.
Yeah.
Because I scoped out where I wanted to shoot at, and then for him to kind of like steer away from it, it's like, okay, well, that put me on my P's and Q's to tell other women, you know, not to work with this person because this is what type of person he is.
Gotcha. It's honestly scary, right? So just as a man, and then that's one of the things, one of the reasons I love asking models about like their safety tips. Cause just like as a man, other male photographers feel real comfortable talking to me a certain type of way. But it's just like, as a man, we can't have certain conversations. Because at the point in which I understand you to be the person in which you're portraying yourself to be, we didn't have beef. And it's just like I look at you less than. And it's like there are a lot of men who call themselves photographers and it's just like they want to see women naked. And it's just like, that's not it, bro. Like respect people. And it's just like even if you're looking for that type of thing, present yourself as that. There's a modeling community specifically for that. You do it over there, but don't be a creep about it. Like don't deceive people. Don't change anything from what you initially had. Like that ain't it.
And I think too with that, the biggest thing when I started getting into working with different people about doing that type of line of shooting, it was contracts. If you can't get a contract, don't shoot with them. I know it sounds funny because you may not know what a contract is as a model. You may never have heard it, been exposed to it. But a contract will save a lot of stuff because if that shoot goes left, you have black and white information of what was expected, what was compensated, what are you supposed to receive. You know who you're working with. You have something to fall back on versus this person blocks you after this shoot and you've never got anything. Or just somebody was a creep and they harassed you or they made you uncomfortable. Like it's a lot of people, even down to women photographers that are like that as well. And you have to know who's who. And doing your footwork helps a lot because a lot of men won't talk to other men that way, but they'll do it to women because they look at women beneath because they say, oh, well, you're just a model. You want to look slutty. You want that image. And so they feel like the woman will be desperate to do anything because a lot of women don't have confidence. A lot of women get into this business because they don't have confidence. They don't get into it because they genuinely love shooting. They do it because someone's told them they look sexy or they look good in lingerie and they can get away with it.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware of those type of men, but the contracts can save you. It's not going to 100% save you, but you know what you're dealing with. And if that's their line of work and that's what they're trying to do, if they're not willing to say, hey, this is our contract agreement, this is a model agreement, or I'm going to pay you for this, or you're going to pay me for that, then you kind of can see those red flags with them because they don't advertise themselves as this sicko, but you see what you're dealing with because it's not within those lines.
No, I completely agree. And so, just for me, for any model or any photographer who has never done a contract or a model release form, as you said, it saves a bunch of time. So, for me, I've moved towards, like, if I really got like a dope shoot I really, really want to do, like, I'm probably going to pay you for your time and I'm going to ask you to sign a model release form. And so, for me in my model release form, the first page is, hey, full government name. So like it'll be like my business's legal name, your legal full name. It's like, hey, here's the date, here's the time, hey, here's the concept for the shoot. This is how much I'm paying you. Here's the color schemes. Here's the specific outfit range that you need to be wearing. Hey, here's the ideal of poses, whether you're going to be sitting, you're going to be standing, things of that nature. How many photos are you going to get back? What's the time frame in which I'm going to return the photos to you? What are some other things I include? Oh, just behind the scenes footage. Who has the rights to that? So like, you shoot with me, I'm probably going to ask you to record behind the scenes footage.
Right.
As well, if you want to get behind the scenes footage, cool too. Hey, what's the license for which you use the photos? That's a really, really big one people don't pay attention to. So like, hey, as a model, can you go sell your own picture somewhere? That's something you just need to know. Hey, can you just post it on Instagram or things of that nature? So these are all things in which I put in my contracts. Or even if you don't want to do something as tedious as a contract, send these things via however you're communicating with the photographer or the model. Like if it's an Instagram message, Facebook message, social media messages, or text, just have all that in the text and always just take a screenshot so you can go back to it, things of that nature, it saves so much time.
Yes, it does.
'Cause-
And always have a point of contact.
yeah, I agree. So I kind of mentioned this earlier a little bit. I was talking about how people present on social media. So for you, is there a social media platform that is best to showcase your modeling portfolio?
For me, right now, my best way to just showcase myself is on my Instagram. My Instagram is Ferina Hernandez. Official is all one word. That's where you can see all of my work. I have not deleted any work that I have done. Everything is there, from even down to people I've worked with, behind the scenes, raw footages. It's there. You can see my growth period from 2017 until now. I did not post anything too tough when I was under the age of 19, because that was obviously I was a child. So I didn't post a lot of that stuff, but you can see everything in my portfolio. And then if you really wanted to see it, I have my own portfolio within my Google Drive. But usually, if you want to see everything, on my Instagram. And my Instagram shows everything from uncut to cut.
Got you. And so, just follow up question to that. So, as a model, do you feel like it's enough to just show the still pictures of your modeling portfolio, or do you feel like you need to diversify the content in which you put out as a model?
I'll just say be all around and be open, because you don't
Yeah.
want people to see just a bunch of edited photos or you just glammed up. You have to have some of those where it's just you in your natural state. You and, you're preparing for a shoot or preparing for a fashion show, even down to a visual. Like, I have a visual. I don't believe it's posted on my Instagram, but if you're on my Facebook, it is on my Facebook. But you have to be able to show that you're well around, and you kind of have to show what you can and cannot do, because if you have just strictly one thing, they're not gonna kind of scout you for that. So you have to be able to show that uncut cut look. Like,
That
you
makes
have to
sense.
be able to see you doing your photography work. You got to be able to see you, like, prepping for it, even if it's simple as someone taking an off guard photo of you getting ready. I just think it gives you realistic characteristics, and it gives you a realistic idea of what you're going to work with, or who you are as a person, who you are as a model. It's very vulnerable. You can see a person that they're not just this everyday model 24/7.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so you brought up something again earlier. So you were talking about modeling in teenage years, right? So I know for me as a person, I don't like working with 18 or 19-year-olds because like it don't sit right with me, right? It's
Correct.
like like if it's not for like a inappropriate situation like a graduation or like a family shoot or something like that. But like shooting 18 or 19-year-olds for like actual modeling shoots, for me, it doesn't sit right. So most times if I'm doing like a model call or things of that nature, I'll say like, hey, you have to be at least 21, right?
Correct.
So for you as a model who modeled at a young age, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like what are your what am I trying to say here, right? Do you feel like you should be showcasing a lot in your teenage years, or do you feel like you should more so be building up to really start showcasing in like your early 20s?
I would say personally in your early 20s, because as a teenager, you're not an adult. And a lot of times you are just going with what you think is best. Even at 19 and 20, that's why I wasn't willing to work with other photographers, because I had to learn myself as an adult. My adult body is not my teenage body. My adult mind is not my teenage mind. You start to be exposed to a lot more as an adult. And when you're 21 plus, and me personally, I would say 25, at 25 you're experienced a little bit more to know what's good, bad, right, wrong. But some people jump out on off the porch and they're 18, 19 years old shooting with lingerie on in a strip club somewhere or something, or they don't have that experience to where they can have confidence and mannerism, etiquette, or just just know how to do it, and you build yourself up growing and learning that point of view to where when you become 25 and up, you know what type of modeling you want to do versus when you're 18, 19, 20, you're just trying to get your foot wet. And so you'll take anything. I think me personally, if I was a photographer, I would not scout anybody under 21. I would take certain 21-year-olds if their portfolio shows it.
Yeah.
If they don't have a portfolio that's worth showcasing, then I wouldn't scout them. But someone who's done it, and if you started at 18 or 19, by the time you're 25, you should have enough in your bag to show the progress to just shoot.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So I want to talk about your future goals, right? Mm-hmm. So are there any future projects that you want to do more of, or anything you're particularly looking for in the future?
I want to do more print. I want to step away from fashion shows. I really wasn't into fashion shows. I did my first fashion show at 21. And then I came back like 2 years later and did some more. But I don't enjoy fashion shows. I like to watch them because you get to see the versatility versus you're part of it. I want to do more print because I like to be creative. Even if it's a creative director, I want to just be creative. I want to put more showcasing of my name, Ferina itself, out there, even if it's me hanging upside down, me chained up, me remaking something. I just want to be able to be creative. But I know right now, because I'm going back to school, I want to be able to, when I come back in my creative bubble, I want to be able to show that I can be creative, and not just put on a pair of clothes and stand in front of a railroad track and say, hey, I'm sexy. I do want to do that. But my goal is within the next 2 years to try to expand myself with some things, even if it's an underwater shoot, because I have a fear of water. I want to try to do or an attempt an underwater shoot. And even if I don't attempt it, just like I have an idea of doing a shot falling into the water. So I do want to do that. I want to try it at least 3 feet because I'm 6 foot. I wouldn't go anything above 4 because I can't swim and I don't know how to float. So I would like to try something like that. I want to get more creative. I want to do stuff that they're not expecting us as models to do. And then I want to kind of do something not America's Next Top Modelish, but more magazine print, like something that's not of our norm that you see today in Instagram.
That makes sense. So just curious, in part of your creativity aspects, is there any aspiration of potentially doing design or things of that nature? Earlier you kind of mentioned some photographers potentially shying away from you just because you're tall. So it's like any ideas of doing like design for like women of your height or taller, anything of that nature?
I've actually tried to do that twice, and it did not work because when you realistically ask women, how tall are you? Most women lie. They don't know how tall they are or they lie. So it's hard to find a lot of models now, at least in my area, who are tall, confident, and want to do stuff like that. But I do want to kind of get a group and not just make a group, but just create a group of girls or get with a photographer and then do a group of girls and various of heights from like 5'8" to like 6 foot plus, because I want to show the versatility that we're not all just short people. I do want to do that type of creativity, but again, we don't have many models that are tall. And then I also want to do one of body positivity where there's women of all body types, short, big, BB, just big and beautiful. Like I want to show off that because everybody kind of just sticks to this one particular body type or this one particular race of women, and I don't want to be that person. At least I want to see more of it being shot just around.
Any wants of having like your own like modeling agency or anything of that nature?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. I can't manage. I can't manage. My ADHD would not allow it. I would love to be someone's backburn. Like I would like to get with a photographer that I trust, or maybe a group of photographers, and be someone's creative director for them. Get scout models for them that I feel could suit the photo shoots or visuals that they might put together. Or just do model casting, but I don't think I could do an agency because I don't want people to feel like they're signed to someone, and I don't like the ideal of being signed to someone. I don't want to be in a contract, and I don't want to give out contracts. So no.
Gotcha. You just seem like there are certain people that I've had the pleasure of meeting in like the modeling industry, and like they pour a lot into other people, right? And like they hype people up. So I could see you being like that hype person, like just on the side and like you got this and everything, just checking in, like, hey, you got your outfits and everything ready for the shoot tomorrow. So like more of that role. I guess kind of you're just saying creative director. I can definitely see you being super successful in that.
I want to, but I just don't know where to begin. I really don't.
Yeah.
And that's why I would like to just work with maybe one or two photographers and be that person for them. Even if they come to me with an idea and they say, hey, I want to do a Black History Month shoot. What do you think? And then, hey, I pour my ideas to you. You pour your ideas. I scout the clothing, or I buy the clothing, provide the clothing, because I love doing stuff like that. It doesn't bother me to go out of my way to make sure a visual is done because I love helping people. That's my calling. So I would love to, as a model, to be able to just put something together like, hey, here's a wardrobe. All you need to do is find the models you need to shoot. Like, I would love to do that. I would love to do something similar to that. But I couldn't do an agency because it's just too much back handle the contracts, and it's just a lot.
I am taking notes of what you just said. Because honestly, like, that is. So I feel like me, I try to be like the everything photographer, right? So I'm just like, okay, like, one, I feel like every photographer should have the ability to be a creative director, right? Because I feel like, especially if you're reaching out to people, like, I do not like when I hear stories of photographers saying, hey, I want to shoot, but I don't know what to shoot.
Right.
Like, I feel like if you're going to reach out to people, make sure you know what you want to shoot or have a vision. Shooting just to shoot, have a vision. So, but yeah, nope, I am writing it down because, like, just that I do think, like, and then also just from a content perspective, too, I think that would be really cool. Like, hey, we came up with a concept. Hey, we're shopping for the shoot. Hey, here's the shoot. And then just, like, have that progression. Because I don't think people actually know how much really goes into, like, a really good photo shoot.
Right.
Because I feel like sometimes people feel like, oh, put on some clothes, show up, snap a photo or two, edit it, put it on Instagram. And it's just like, it's so much more nuance to it.
Right. And I think being creative in that aspect, shopping around for your model, shopping around for your clothing, your location, it plays a big part into having a successful shoot because anybody can take a white background and make a shoot in Photoshop something. But if you put thought into a shoot, if you say, hey, well, I know in May it's Memorial Day, but we're not gonna do anything memorial like, but we'll do a memorial of Black women who've gotten killed by police brutality, and we're going to do that as the Memorial Day thing, like, or we'll do it for Juneteenth and show off, Black people, or we'll do it for Black history. You shop around, you have to sit on ideas. You can't just pull an idea out of your sleep. You can dream about it, but I'm a person where I've sat on photo shoots for months because I don't know who to take it to because everybody doesn't have that visual. And then I may have not found the right attire to wear for it, or I might not have found the right hairstyle or location. So you have to shop around, and I think me being that creative, it helps because you can't put together something successful overnight. It doesn't work that way.
I agree. And just to give an example of that, so like, I'm definitely not gonna have this video edited by tomorrow. So tomorrow I did a shoot for Black History Month, right? And I love that shoot so much. So, but like, I started planning for that shoot in like November.
Right.
So I wanted to do like a Black Panther themed photo shoot. And I'm just like, and then like I had the visuals and stuff. So I'm just like Black Panther's like legit, like, hey, all Black and everything, turtlenecks and stuff. They have the berets, all this stuff. And I'm like, that'd be so dope. And then I wanted to do it in front of the courthouse.
Okay.
And so we had to move the date. Like, I think we had to move the date, but we went downtown. I wanted to do it in front of the courthouse, just have like the Duval courthouse in the background. Not like right on the courthouse, but like have it in the background and stuff. And came down to it, scouted models, sent them contracts, paid them for their time, and got to the day of, it was a protest in front of the courthouse.
Wow.
It was a protest for Iran. And so I'm just like, well then, that is interesting. And then it's just like, I'm scrambling at this point because, like I said, I'm put 2 months into this, and it's like, okay, well, y'all just gonna take my little spot and stuff,
All
and
right,
then
and you won't
like,
even move.
and then I mean, like, it got to be like, I want to say between like maybe like 100 to 150 people in front of the courthouse. It was very peaceful. And then they had like trailers with like Iran flags and stuff. They had pictures of people who passed away. It was a big deal. I'm very surprised it wasn't on the news. Bunch of people, but then like it also a bunch of police, of course. So I'm just
Right.
like, okay. But then right next to the courthouse is the JA building. And I'm like, how best do I take advantage of this?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, if I'm doing a Black Panther themed shoot for Black History Month, having the police as a backdrop,
It looks dope.
it worked really well. So I'm just like, and then so I'm just like, okay. And then once again, as a photographer, you got to be creative. And so for me, I struggle with creativity a little bit just because like I like to have everything planned in advance. So like I can plan stuff, I can be creative and plan stuff, but like in the moment where it's like, oh snap, gotta switch up. It's not my favorite, but I'm like, it's one of the moments where sometimes I forget I'm a photographer because I'm like, hey, like I know I like taking pictures and stuff, but like I gotta remind myself like, nah, I do this. So I'm like, okay, hey, there's these little steps. I'm like, okay, let me take the photo such that like I have 5 models. I have everybody like in the bottom corner. Then you have the police right here in the background. Then even further in the background, you have the people doing the protest. And I just love that picture so much. So, but yeah, just photo shoots do not happen overnight.
No, and you gotta be creative. You gotta make room for
Yeah.
like wiggle, because you can have a B, C, D plan for or else moment, but no one plans that 2 months later down the road there's a protest.
Yeah.
No one's planning that. Oh, it might be raining on this day. Like we can't predict that. So yeah, I think that's where that is. And as a model, sometimes you lose that creativity because you don't plan
Yeah.
for those little hiccups. I think that's cute. I think I would have enjoyed that. Just to even see it, I think if I was just a person passing by, that would have been a good experience. Because it's like, well, how unique. They're probably coming down here to do a courthouse, but just hypothetically, there's, a protest. And these people probably can't even see the signs in the photo, but just you got the people protesting. And then you have polices and then the courthouse. Oh, okay. Black history for sure.
It was funny too, because then like you have people driving by, so they just see a bunch of people and like this Black Panther attire and it's all black. And then me, I just like I went in the shoe, but I wanted to kind of be like I'm still here. So I had like my black Herm hobby and shirt on, with like some black pants and black shoes and stuff. And you got people coming by and it was like, yeah, black power and stuff. And it was just the dopest thing ever. Oh my gosh. It was just one of those shoes that like, hey, it started a little rough, but we made it work. And I love it.
Did you think about even incorporating like the lift every voice little place, being that's it's Black history.
I did. It's just one of the things with that. So like I tried to do 2 or 3 shoots there. And then it's like I'll check to see what events are going on in Jacksonville. Nothing's supposed to be happening.
But then
It's always something there. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let me pivot and go somewhere else and stuff. So I wanted to, but I'm like, okay, trying to hedge my bets there. So then I was like, okay, courthouse on the weekend. It was on a Sunday, too, especially on a Sunday. Nobody's going to be there, but I guess other people were thinking that same thing too. So
I think if I had to be creative in that aspect, like just if I had to do a Black history shoot, it would have been like I would have went to Sherwood or I would have went to Harborview and I would have had, I guess you would call them extras.
yeah,
I would have had them wearing their black too, but they wouldn't have been a part of the photo shoot. Like they wouldn't have been the casted models.
Yeah.
And I would have had them in the background, paid them for their time, and have the signs like Black Lives Matter, Black History Month, my name's Rosa Parks, or whatever signs you put together, and I would have had them like posted up near like the Sherwood sign, and then I would have had my models Black Panthering in front of. Because, I'm in a black community, or like go to Moncrief and do it on 45th and Moncrief. Go in black predominantly areas because everybody, when they think of Black Panther, they automatically think of courthouse or the jailhouse. Like they don't kind of like be as versatile, but if I would have done that. Just showing the creativity. Because everybody's like thinking Black Panther and then they'll just kind of put people in, a parking garage or... We're going to go to the courthouse. We're going to go to the jail. Like, why not do something historic? Go in front of a school and do like the Ruby Bridges moment. Like recreate Ruby Bridges.
Yeah.
I'm that that creative. So I like to do things outside of the bubble that most people aren't trying to do.
Okay, so Ferina, we got 4 months. Because you just said a couple of great ideas. And so we got 4 months. So after this, give me like 2 weeks. I'm gonna hit you back up and it's like, we gotta get started on that. Cause I
That's
love that
funny.
idea. And then so you know what's crazy too? So like I was just on 45th in Cleveland.
Okay.
So there's a meat market, it's a black owned meat market. And I'm just like, hey, I would love to just, take photos for you all. Cause like it's a food desert on the north side. And like to see that, one, just to own a business is hard as itself, but to own a business in a predominantly economically disadvantaged place that's a food desert. So just like stepping out on that faith to put that business there is so dope. So just like something like that, we gonna talk.
You definitely can. I mean, you got Martin Luther King Expressway. You got a lot of different places, but I would venture out because people expect us to kind of go for those. When I first started modeling, everybody was parking garage, park,
Yeah,
hotel. Like you got to be creative, and being creative involves different stuff. Like
yeah,
everybody kind of goes to TikTok and use ideas, but you got to put your idea. You got to sit on your idea and dream about it. And I'm not a sketcher, but I can visually put something together. And when I put something together, I can see it on someone, and I
yeah.
can see the creativity. Like, but a lot of people don't see that. They don't think of, okay, Juneteenth. Let's do, when we do Juneteenth, everybody wants to wear the colors and the African colors, but they don't think about, let's go into these black neighborhoods and do a shoot, or let's go into a grave site and do the shoot because we've lost our ancestors. They're here. Let's use our ancestors, even if it's some random person. Like, I mean, show something. You can kind of create and have versatility versus people are kind of just standing and doing something, not to knock anybody's creativity, because I wouldn't have thought about going in front of a courthouse. Like, it wouldn't have been I would have just been like, oh, Black Panther. Okay, let's get a bunch of people, put them in a room. But
Yeah.
it's just the ideas. I don't like the typical ideas. I'm not a typical person. I'm not a predictable person, but I don't like typical people.
That makes sense. 4 months now. So today is February 1st, first day of Black History Month. So we're just going to see Farina's evolution as a creative director on June 19th. Just,
Okay.
we putting it out there.
I might have a tan, but we good. Because, I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling over the water during the beginning of June, but we can definitely, I'm for it.
I'll bet.
I'm definitely for it.
So just in terms of the entire interview, do you have any parting words, anything you want to make sure people understand about you as a person, as a model, just anything?
About me, I'm just real bubbly, so don't be scared or shy to come and talk to me. I may look like I'm a not talk to you type of person, but I promise you, I'm very bubbly. I love to talk. I have ideas. I'm very supportive. I'm everybody's backbone. I'm everybody's diary. Like, you can come to me just to vent. Like, I'm that person. And I love helping out, no matter if it's in fashion, if it's in print, if it's in wardrobe, if it's just recruiting. Like, I'm that person, and my face is very important to me. So I'm not going to give somebody my word and I don't do it. I'm not going to say, hey, shoot with this person, and I know they have a bad attitude. I will say, hey, this is a person I recommend, but you kind of got to play your own cards for this person. That's up to you. But I'm that type of person, and I want people to not be afraid to just love on tall models, because we are here. We aren't going anywhere. We can't get surgery to make ourselves shorter. I mean, we probably could, but we're just us, and I want to show people that I'm versatile. I want to work with some of anybody. I want to work with some of everybody. I want to work with people who love what they do, not somebody who just picked up a camera because they ran out of money, not somebody who wants to stand and do the TikTok poses and the Instagram poses. I want to just show people models. And then just down to, as a model, I want you guys to be safe. I want you guys to be safe. I didn't have a big sister to tell me to be safe. I have big sisters, but they didn't tell me to be safe when I jumped into this industry. They just told me, are you sure nobody's going to take you serious? Like, no one supported me and my family. They still don't. But I want you guys to be safe. And when I say safe, I'm meaning from the ideas that you shoot, the clothing that you wear, the photographers you shoot with. I want you to be safe. I want you to make sure this is for you, not you're just doing it because you feel like you're losing your touch. You're never losing your touch. Even if you got to self-shoot it sometime, I want you guys to be safe because people are out here doing things to models and it's not being talked about enough. And it takes for them to blow up or something dramatic to happen for us to do it. And we've lost a model in the model industry. I'm pretty sure we've lost a lot, but one of the models we lost in the industry, and she lit up the room when she came in. She was wonderful, but tragically things happened. And I want people to be safe because it happens to anybody. There's models out here committing suicide because the industry is not accepting them. The industry is putting them down, they're lowballing them, they're blackballing them because they're speaking up for themselves. And I want you guys to be safe. If this is something that you want to do, you have to think of it as a career, not even as a career. Think of this as your child that you just birthed. You're birthing a model. You're birthing a generation of models. You're birthing a generation of you. You have to think of everything that comes to it. When you get 60 and 70 years old and these pictures come back up, are you going to be ashamed? Are you going to be embarrassed? Are you going to say, oh, well, I shouldn't have done that? Because it's not just a job, it's a hobby for some of us. Some of us don't do this as a 9 to 5. We do this because we love what we do. We love to just be here, but don't make it unsafe for where we make a bad name for ourselves. I want you all to be safe. I want photographers to get together and be able to have a successful shoot or a successful show, or just be able to have people know that they're safe with them, because a lot of these photographers are family men, they're family oriented, they're family women, they're all structured for family, but wing out those bad people. I want you guys to be safe.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yes.